There's a subtle lie that kind of settles into a lot of long marriages around this stage of life. It doesn't arrive loudly, it just quietly takes control. The lie is this: the building years are behind you. You built a life, you raised kids, you're still in the middle of this whole process, this whole journey. You accumulated what adults accumulate. You get a home, a career, you're developing experiences and habits, memories. And somewhere in the midst of all this journey, somewhere in there, without quite deciding to, the posture shifted from building towards something to holding on, from reaching to maintaining. And a maintenance posture applied to a marriage slowly suffocates it. Not dramatically, just gradually. The way a house that nobody's improving eventually starts to show that it's not being taken care of. I'm Coach Shaun, and this is week 12 of the marriage we're building now. And this week, I want to talk, or rather ask you a question that might be more important than any question you've sat with in this series so far in the past 12 weeks. And the question is this: what do you still have to build together? Psalm 127:1 says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain." Notice the word builds, present tense, ongoing. Not unless the Lord built the house, not once the Lord has finished building the house. Builds right now, still in progress, still under construction. There's something deeply hopeful in that word for where you are in your marriage right now. The building isn't done. It's not finished. It never was meant to be finished. A marriage that stops being built with purpose, with intention, with God at the center of that marriage and that relationship. It doesn't just stay the same. Relationships are dynamic. But if you stop building, it quietly starts to give way. Forward motion matters in a marriage, not because stillness is wrong, but because a marriage, like any living thing, either grows or it doesn't. There's nothing passive about a relationship. It deepens or it doesn't. It gets richer or it gets poorer. It stays curious about the other person or it calcifies. Couples who navigate the middle years well tend to have one thing in common that I've noticed. They're still oriented towards a future together. They still have a hope. They still have an expectation. They still have a focus on building towards the future. They're not just coasting on what they've already built. They're asking, what's next? What do we still want to do? What do we want to become together? And of course, that looks different for every couple. For some, it's a literal change, a new project, a move, a business, a ministry, something they're creating together. For others, it's relational, deciding to pursue a depth of intimacy they've not quite reached before. For some, it's just let's have fun. For others, it's about legacy. What are we building for the people who come after us? What matters is that there is a we oriented towards a future, not just managing the present, actively imagining and pursuing a future. This matters especially, and I mean really especially, for couples approaching or already in the empty nest season. Vital. Refire. Don't retire. Because when the kids leave, the marriage is suddenly standing on its own 2 feet again, without the shared project of raising children to organize around, to give structure and common purpose to something. Empty nests expose who we really are. It exposes things. It reveals whether the marriage itself, not the family structure around it, not the busyness, not the kids' schedules, whether the marriage itself is still alive and leaning forward. Some couples discover they've built something beautiful underneath all of it, that the friendship is still there, that they still genuinely like each other. Others discover that the marriage has been surviving on the structure and proximity rather than genuine, deep connection. And that's a hard thing to sit with. Whichever is true for you, the answer isn't to go back. You can't go back. It's now to build forward, to ask the question you maybe haven't asked in years. What do we want the next chapter to actually look like? So here's an assignment for you for this week, a practice. You should do this together, not individually. Write down 3 things you want more of in your life together in the next 5 years. What do you want more of in the next 5 years? Not things, we're not talking about stuff, not possessions, but experiences and qualities and ways of being together. Maybe it's adventure. Maybe it's deep conversation. Maybe it's more laughter, more fun, as I say. Maybe it's more faith, more stillness, quietness, more travel. Maybe it's a project you've always talked about starting together. My suggestion is write 3 things down, just 3, and then sit together and read them to each other and find the one that appears to be common on both lists, or that most resonates with you both, that you can agree on. Then make one small concrete move towards it this week. Write down one action step, not a whole strategic plan, just one action step you can take this week to move you towards doing that. You don't need a master plan. You don't need a strategy, as I say. You just need a conversation and a marriage that's still asking, what do we still want to build together? A marriage that isn't building towards something is going to drift. And you didn't make it this far to drift. I'm Coach Shaun. The book, The Marriage We're Building Now, is in the description, including the full guide to this week's practice that you will find on our new Substack newsletter, the marriage we're building now.substack.com. I'll put the link below. And this is the last week of the reconnecting session of the series. Next week, we move into another part of the whole devotional journey together. And I will see you then.